Alright, this is Shenron's Wish, and this is my remake of What If Naruto Had the Powers of Blue Eyes White Dragon. The story at the beginning goes to canon. Naruto is born to the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. In this universe, Naruto will have the Jogan. I'll be making it a Namikaze clan Kekkei Genkai. On the day of the Nine Tails attack, the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze decided that if he was to save the village, he would have to do so by sealing the Nine Tails within his son, in the hopes that he would possibly become stronger and the hero of the village. But as he was sealing it, the Nine Tails' last retaliation against being sealed was to attack the boy and kill him before the chance was ever made. It was soon realized by Minato that he would have to protect the Nine Tails. He told his wife to get out of the way, but she jumped behind him and took the blow with him. Before, normally Minato would have made it, and Kushina should have been dead by now. But Minato decided if he wanted any chance to save his village and his son, he would have to seal the Nine Tails within him. When Minato was sealing the Nine Tails, something weird happened. When he finished the seal, blue marks appeared on the boy's skin, and the blue marks stretched down from atop his body all the way to his stomach. They went from his head, shoulders, arms, hands, straight to his stomach. And it made the seal stronger. And while this made Naruto stronger, Minato and Kushina said their last words to their baby boy. Time skips several years later, and Naruto and a 4-year-old Naruto kicked out of the orphanage just a few months before is at home on his bed wondering what to do. Best choice for Naruto in this situation being that he should go out to the store to get something to eat. But his eye felt weird. It had this weird burning sensation. Naruto couldn't explain it himself, but he didn't want to have to take any chances. But Naruto pushes forward, and when he gets to the store to buy something, the shop owner scans his food and kicks him out and tells him never come back to his store. Naruto, slightly depressed by this, just walks off with his groceries. He's about to make it home when a group of ninja jump in front of him, 2 of them being Chunin. They decided that they were going to show the quote-unquote demon, or teach the demon a lesson for destroying their village. And Naruto's one eye became 2 Jogan. Now to explain what 2 Jogan mean. So in this alternate universe, the Jogan has a special ability, being that the user gains special powers with each Jogan they have. Naruto's first ability being control over time, and Naruto's second ability being able to have complete control over lightning. And with this, when the ninjas go to attack the young Naruto, Naruto simply just closes his eyes. When he opens them again, time is frozen. He decides that it'll be best if he beats them now, because they know where he lives, and if he solves the problem now, he won't have to deal with it later. And he should do it quick. He doesn't know how long this will be happening. Naruto continues worry-free, as he knows what he'll do. Naruto simply decides that it'll be best to just end this fight early, as he would say. And Naruto runs up to the two ninjas that started attacking him, and then blue and white lightning appear around Naruto. And that's when Naruto lunges at the men and fries the both of them, and then walks past them. And when he thinks time should be starting again, it does. And he's behind the men, and they're on the floor, shocked and squirming. People in the nearby area went and told the Hokage, but he didn't believe that Naruto could just take down two grown Chunin in one attack. I mean, who would? But he said he'll look into it, knowing that he was probably just going to banish those villagers anyways. Being that one of them said demon out loud, and most of them did, he was going to either banish those villagers or a ninja, or maybe just both. He'd decide while smoking. But he did find it intriguing, and when he looks through the crystal ball, he sees that Naruto's Jogan are activated, and it reminds him of Minato. And he thinks maybe Naruto did defeat those Chunin. The Namikaze have always been very advanced. Good thing I gave him his father's goggles just in case. He might even learn the forbidden jutsu that come with his eyes. But I digress. Naruto continues on that day, like normal, but he decides he should do a little bit of training because he feels kind of weird. There's markings on his hand, and he doesn't know what to do about it. But it seems no problem. Naruto, not right now at least. Naruto knows exactly what to do and knows that this is all under his control. So for the rest of that day, Naruto develops jutsu until his eye shines. and he thinks of a jutsu to enhance them. He puts them on the goggles that Lord Third gave him. He thought they might do something special. And when he placed the goggles on his head, his Jogan went from a light blue to purple to dark blue. Sorry, I almost said purple. The change in Naruto's Jogan is he's gained an extra ability. While using this. Hey, that's crazy. But anyways, I digress. Sorry. But throughout that day, he puts on the goggles, and his time stop ability is way better. He can now reverse time on objects. Anything he's broken, he can fix, and it'll stay that way. Well, until he breaks it again. Naruto decides that he should tell the Hokage, and he came at the right time, but just in the wrong moment, because all the clan leaders were outside the door about to walk in, and they heard what Naruto said. And when they heard that Naruto learned how to stop time and manipulate lightning along with enhance these abilities with his goggles, they all decided that it would be best if they were to take the goggles away from the boy. Danzo thought of them as blessings. Danzo thought that maybe he should make the boy an Anbu. That way he can train him and make him into his perfect weapon, mold him into a tool that he can use to control the leaf. Of course, Naruto wasn't really going for control of the leaf, more of I unlocked a new jutsu, while the Uchiha decided that it would be best if he was to marry the heir to the Uchiha throne, because Itachi did not want it. Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke was a rare case when it came to Uchiha. Sasuke trained the hardest out of the young Uchiha, and since her big brother didn't want the title, she wanted to take it. But for all the wrong reasons. She decided that if she was to become the heir, then maybe she could find the way to unlock the ultimate power known as the Rinnegan. Only other leaders having this ability being ninja of legend like Madara, Uchiha, and so forth. But with her ambitions and goals came a slight setback. It's very possible that she might not gain the chance of getting it or passing it on to her children if they have weak genes, because Itachi and Sasuke are descendants of the almighty Madara, so they should be known and feared. Sasuke currently is the youngest to unlock the eyes of the Sharingan. She unlocked them at 4, and now 3 months later, she's already close to having her third Tomoe. And Danzo was strictly ordered to stay out of all Uchiha affairs, because if he was to send an Anbu Uchiha to do anything in that clan compound, he would be executed immediately. So the Uchiha massacre won't happen. Danzo being furious, but knowing that since he has Itachi and Shisui working for him, if he sends one of them or anyone that is in Uchiha, he'll most definitely die. No Anbu besides Uchiha Anbu are allowed in the compound anymore. Ever since Danzo tried to help the masked man, this information was not leaked to the public about Danzo. Only ones knowing being the ninja and the third Hokage. Originally, they were going to just send him off to jail, and that would be at that. Until someone decided it was best to leave him for now. They would find something to do with the old coup later, is what he said. This being Orochimaru. Knowing that the third Hokage would be Hokage until they could find the fifth, he would be still working with the village in order to become Hokage and kill the man known as Hiruzen. But the reason he wanted to kill Hiruzen is he was stopping him from doing all his precious research and testing on the Uchiha, limiting him from doing anything. He decided it would be best to get rid of the problem immediately. But he'd have to become Hokage first, so he would lure all suspicion away. They tried for Jiraiya, but he was not there, and Orochimaru seemed a little bit suspicious, so they'd do some secret tests behind his back to see if he was really worthy of becoming Hokage. And it seems they were right to not trust him. They caught him in the act trying to kidnap an Uchiha child. He was hoping to get Sasuke, but anyone would do, really, as long as he could train them and forcefully unlock their Sharingan. They were going to sentence him to death, but he slipped away. But I digress. We'll go to the Hyugas. They thought to themselves, if they could get their hands on his goggles, then they could become stronger than the Uchiha. The Hyuga had been defeated by the Uchiha on multiple occasions. And Danzo decided that maybe he should leak these goggles. Maybe it'll get the villagers to try to make the Hokage take them from the boy. And then he could possibly manipulate his way into the boy's mind, saying that if he were to climb the ranks, he could possibly reclaim his stolen treasure. And that's what Danzo did. The Uchiha now knew that they could possibly persuade Naruto into becoming Sasuke's, as you would say, I wouldn't say bride, but her beloved. Sasuke already had a liking to the boy. She had a crush on him, of course. And if she already likes him, then why not find a way to set them up? It'll be a win-win for everybody. The Uchiha gain access to his goggles. And Sasuke is the boy of her dreams. Nothing should really be wrong here. Or so they thought, until Sasuke questioned why they were doing this for her. Most of the time, they would stay away from her so she could train and hone her skills. But they said, think of it as an early birthday gift. Trying to set her up with Naruto would just bring her one step closer to her beloved. And her brother Itachi, while extremely skeptical of the idea and reason why they're trying to set up her with Naruto, he wasn't going to question it until things got serious. So he let it go for now. And now we go to a young Naruto, just in the fields training his Jogan. He had the Lord Third was watching over him as he developed new jutsu, making the Lightning Cloak. Now when you're thinking Lightning Cloak, I'm not talking about the third Hokage. I'm not talking about the Raikages, but think of Luck from I really almost said Fairy Tail. I've watched too much early anime. But think of Luck from Black Clover. In his Lightning Cloak, he has claw-like features, and he can move swifter. And since he's doing this with white and blue lightning, the more you try to touch him, the more dangerous it is. Naruto's power being highly dangerous when it comes to certain enemies is surprisingly well. Yet I digress. Naruto continues on with what he was originally going to do, being the being the great idea to try to make a sword of sorts out of his lightning abilities. Being able to do that, he could possibly take over being his big break, allowing him to gain slow control over how he'll be graded in the Ninja Academy. 3 more years of honing, as Lord Third called him. He would go to the academy. Naruto made 3 jutsu and learned 4. Naruto made the lightning sword jutsu, being like Goku Black's Keyblade, where he could charge lightning into his hand and make it like a Keyblade, where he could cut through people using only his hand to slash. And his secondary jutsu being the lightning scythe. Like the key scythe of Goku Black, it was very dangerous and caused mass destruction. It also took a while to actually perfect. It took them weeks to even come up with the idea. But of course, they would just let him have this one. And they slowly decided that it would be better if they were to move forward with caution. They weren't going to, put themselves right out there. It would be an oddly reckless move of them. But in the heat of the moment, they decided it would be best to just do what they had to do. Of course, nothing ever really lasts. They continue. But I digress as they continue on. Naruto, after learning a few jutsu, knows when it's time to quit playing. And this third jutsu of his is just up that alley. Now, technically, Naruto's created 4, but the Lightning Cloak doesn't really count as a jutsu if he doesn't have to weave hand signs for it. This final jutsu Naruto makes is called white and blue lightning style, blue eyes white, and blue eyes alternative dragon strike, where Naruto brings in the powers of his past life being blue eyes. Earlier on in those 3 years, Naruto met Blue Eyes one day while he was meditating, trying to enter the mindscape. Blue Eyes finished the 3 Blue Eyes, and their final form, the Ultimate Dragon, appeared, along with the Alternative Dragon, all of them fusing within Naruto, giving him their abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. Their strengths and weaknesses would soon be cured rather easily by the young Naruto. And Naruto, being a fast thinker, decides that it would be best to hold off for now, at least. He'll decide what to do moving forward later on when it's more safe to do anything. And what he means by safe is Anbu have been watching him every day since his training stopped with Lord Third. They all are not Hokage Anbu, otherwise he would recognize them. He's assuming that Danzo sent them in the hopes that they would learn how he ticks. Of course, Naruto didn't let it denerve him in the slightest. Naruto simply just went back to what he was doing. He carried on with his day like usual until he got to the academy, where orientation started. After lunch, Haruka would explain that during that day, they would be doing a quick assessment and learn about each other. And while they were saying what they likes and dislikes were, one of Naruto's classmates, being the extremely annoying Kiba, Naruto was about to strike until he realized Anbu were still watching him. That day, he decided he'll just wait till tomorrow's starting tests. Naruto carries on with his daily life, ignoring Kiba as much as possible to prevent himself from harming the poor animal. But I digress. The next day rolls by rather easily, and Naruto lets the Hokage know before he goes to school that Danzo has Anbu watching him. That day, Danzo was thrown into prison, and he was going to be given a death sentence until the elders decided that he shouldn't die. He should be given one last chance. Hiruzen, about to throw them in too, calms himself because he knows that if he takes their head off, he'll probably just get another self-loathing, annoying trio of village elders. He told them as well the next time they questioned his orders, they would also be executed with Danzo. Danzo called back his Anbu, saying that the idiots weren't quiet enough. The Nine-Tails brat sensed you, he said. The next time you fail like this, I'll make sure you're dealt with myself. Fearing for their lives, all Anbu would leave Naruto alone. Naruto, of course, not wanting to deal with the annoying bunch, decided that it would be best to hold off for a while. But I digress. The days roll by rather normal. Nothing too over the top happens. Now let's go to the test. The first tests being the kunai and shuriken throw, along with a few friendly bouts, wouldn't you say? The kunai and shuriken test, Naruto aces, while Kiba fails. Kiba made a deal with Sasuke. If he was able to beat Naruto, she would allow him to take her on a date. So when the battles begin, Iruka simply explains that this will be a tournament of sorts. Those of you who can pass this tournament will be named the strongest in the classroom. Kiba deciding that not only will he beat Naruto, he'll get the top spot in the class. Iruka explains that ninjutsu and Kekkei Genkai will be allowed for this test. He doubts any of them. No jutsu, so that's why he'll allow it. Boy, was he wrong. The next day, the first battle being Shikamaru versus Shino. Shikamaru uses his shadow possession jutsu to simply hold Shino in place, and all his bugs that tried to come flying out, each and every one of them were paralyzed because all of them together made a big shadow he could control. Shino accepts defeat, and Shikamaru goes on to the next match. Kiba versus Choji. Kiba and Choji were a very close match, but in the end it resulted in the win for Kiba. Kiba barely won by using Fang over Fang multiple times to stop Choji's devastating blows. Choji decided to quit when he seen bugs about to go into his open bag of chips. If the battle would have went on any further, Kiba would have been guaranteed to lose. Sasuke taunting him, saying that if he can't beat Choji, he'll never come close to beating Naruto. Because secretly, Sasuke has been watching Naruto's training. Using some distance and her acquired Sharingan, she can see Naruto. Sasuke would stare in adoration of her beloved's training to become stronger. And Naruto, wondering what the two were talking about, wanders over because he heard his name. He asks if anyone said his name, and they both went quiet. Naruto didn't know what was going on, but decided to roll with it for now. Naruto was up next. It was him pinned against the one and only Rock Lee. Rock Lee, having a deep love for his Sakura-chan, noticed that she looked at Naruto with disgust and decided that he would defeat Naruto to earn her love. When Rock Lee ran to attack Naruto, Naruto simply jumped back and activated his lightning blade. In the sight of seeing Naruto's lightning blade, Rock Lee instinctively jumped back and asked what he had done, and Naruto simply explained, this is a jutsu. This is one of the 4 jutsu he's created, and he'll be the test subject for the first one. Rock Lee, startled but didn't want to give up, decided that he'd use all the training that Mike God gave him and opened the first gate. Rock Lee was currently stuck here. He only thought of it as a small wall in his way of becoming a splendid ninja. And when Rock Lee opened the first gate, while he did get faster, he even took off his weights to make sure. But Naruto, instead of getting scared, activated his Jogan and stopped time. Naruto, from all of his training, can now stop time for as long as he wants. But of course he'll have to start it up again. But he can keep it stopped and go do other things, like do his taxes. Naruto can flex on people, and he doesn't age while stuck in time. He's just moving within it. Everyone stays the same, including Naruto. Only difference being that Naruto's the one that's causing the problem. So, Naruto stops time and then proceeds to beat the living shit out of Rock Lee with his Keyblade, cutting him everywhere. When time resumed, Naruto was back at his spot and his Keyblade was down. And just as Rock Lee was about to celebrate, He felt it. And then they appeared. All the cuts in his suit. Everything. And then Rock Lee said, before he passed out, how? And Naruto simply said, because you were too weak. Shattering the young Rock Lee's pride. Iruka called the match in fear of Naruto's simple ability to defeat a kid that was moving so fast that not even he could see, and the strongest and the youngest Uchiha to have a Sharingan had to use her Sharingan at her limit to see his movements is incredible. Sasuke only saw a little of what Naruto. Yeah. Sasuke only saw a little of Naruto's power. Thank you. Sasuke seeing a little of what Naruto did. She saw it as how he vanished, but then at the end, where he was cutting Lee with his chakra blade, his lightning blade, she seen his final swift movements. Now we're gonna see as he walked over to the same spot and deactivated his ninjutsu. The bout continued. Sakura versus Ino. Sakura win. And 10-10 versus Sasuke. Sasuke won. And it led to the final battle. The winners of the boys' bout and girls' bout would fight each other. Sakura seemed to gain a love for Naruto's power when he defeated Neji. While all the girls thought he cheated, Naruto simply said, I only did the same thing I did to Lee. Use my abilities to my advantage.